You're tuned in to the Keetria Show and listening to SOB, Style of Business, the podcast with your host, Keetria. We aim to highlight the ongoing trek of entrepreneurs and business owners from around the globe, featuring stories that recount their struggles, experiences, and inevitable road to success and self-fulfillment. Welcome to SOB.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in for another fantastic episode of SOB Style of Business. Today I have with me Miss Saba Tekle, who is a award-winning best-selling author, publisher, mentor, and the founder and CEO of Seven House Media. She has a fantastic book series titled 20 Beautiful Women, and she's going to be speaking with us today about her upcoming projects, events, and of course, some good tips and expertise on her background and some of the things that she is involved with. So let's go ahead and give her a moment to give us an introduction. And then as always, we will roll right into the interview. So Saba, hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well. Thanks so much for your patience. I know you waited about 20 minutes for me to actually hit the record button. Sometimes the technical difficulties can be a bit much, but I appreciate you joining today. I know you had to make time in your schedule. Go ahead and give us an introduction and let us know who you are and what you're working on.
So first of all, thank you for having me on this show. Again, I am Saba Tekle. I am a publisher. I am a mentor, as she's already stated, and just most recently I just had an annual event that I have for my 20 Beautiful Women authors, and I also happen to have 20 Beautiful Men authors, and we combined it and just had the Soul Summit. It was awesome, such great energy, and we look forward to having one next year. So I'm actually, if I do plan to have another one, I'm going to start now working on this docu-series that is going to shine the light on beauty, on every shade. And my purpose is to just help people find their passion, purpose, and heal so they can find peace. And for us to really shine a light on inner beauty, which is the most overlooked and underrated thing at this day and time.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I could not agree with you more. I was certainly appreciative of platforms like yours, and anything that you can do to inspire and motivate others is definitely something that is well welcomed. So I know about the 20 Beautiful Women. And like I was saying earlier, you've done a wonderful job of really highlighting other people. And so I just want to know, what inspired you to create the book? And then also, did you expect it would turn out to be a bigger platform? Because I know we started with the book, and then there was turned into a series, then you got the events, and then you got the 20 Beautiful Men. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so what inspired me was women like Young Van Zandt, Marianne Williamson, and Lisa Nichols, just to name a few. I was the person that needed self-help and personal development and some spiritual advice, and I'm the one who needed mentorship more than anything in this world, and I felt God led me to those books so I could give some healing and some clarity on some things that I just felt so alone with. So their vulnerability and their way of telling their story had healed me in a way that made me say, it wasn't just immediate. If I told you every reason why I created this series or why we're here today, we'd be on this call for a couple hours. But in a nutshell, it's to help people heal. It's supposed to serve a purpose for people that also want to be authors. So it's like this multi-level thing that, because again, one of my other pains was wanting to become an author. So I learned so much stuff about this industry. And this industry is very different than people think it is. There's a lot of myths out there that we just kind of debunked at this Soul Summit. I thought it was really important. I might turn this into a blog. But so this is, like I said, it's a multi-level. And to answer your question, did I think it would be this far? Yes and no. Meaning, of course, you don't expect organic success. You really think you're supposed to just be working really hard. And things happen so organically, and I wouldn't say all was effortlessly, but it just we attracted that. And I genuinely believe, because I'm really big on personal development, that when you provide enough value, and if your purpose is to serve the universe is going to turn around and say, well, how can I serve you? So I feel like because there were so many reasons why I was doing this, so many whys, so you'll hear a lot of personal development people say, what's your why? I have so many whys that I feel like, life started to show up in so many unexpected ways, and continue to, because, of what we're trying to do here. And it just happened all organically. So yes and no, so that's why, I guess.
Yeah.
That's it in a nutshell.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you've definitely been going where the road leads. And I know you've also written like other titles such as Are You Lost? And then like I mentioned, the 20 Beautiful Men. But I've noticed the praise for the 20 Beautiful Women has been nonstop. And especially with everything that's going on in regards to women and just the confidence and people being able to kind of stand up and tell their stories and share with others. Like, why do you think people love the message so much, especially with this particular series?
First of all, if I'm going to give you a free copy of the book. You got to really read it, and you'll see that it's not an everyday conversation we're having. For one, we're not really opening up to each other, and everyone is really good at masking what they're going through. So when you go through this book, you not only see yourself in it. You don't have to go through the worst of the worst to kind of see yourself in these stories. You kind of see your neighbors. You see people a little bit, I believe, differently, because it really unravels this veil that not everybody has a story. For one, these aren't just. I mean, yes, I do select the authors, but I really believe if I approached 100 people, everybody would have a miraculous story or something of that nature, what they've been through, So it's like, are we telling our stories? How are we telling our stories? And what content we're sharing our story? And the way that it's being kind of laid out in this book, I think it's just, I'm not saying it hasn't been done before, because I was inspired by Chicken Soup for the Soul, but I think it's just a little bit just different because it's more tailored to healing. And not even that, because they have books about healing, but it's just, I can't put a word of what I'm feeling, what surrounds it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, right.
But it's just the intent behind it. I think that's what's important. The intent behind it is like, I want to empower you by what I've been through, instead of just being preachy, right? So like, we get a lot of preachy stuff.
Exactly.
Everybody telling you what to do, but what have you been through? What have you really been through? And if you can say that you've been through what I've been through, I know I've been more receptive to people like that than someone who's just looking like they have it all together and their life is perfect. I don't know. I prefer the latter. So I guess that would be the reason why.
Yeah. No, I certainly agree with you to that point, especially when you talk about just giving people a platform and allowing them to kind of tell their story and their truth, and just not being critical or judgmental of others. So that's why I think people love it. And you've done a wonderful job with that. And I know you also do quite a bit of mentoring and coaching, which I know a lot of people need through your company, Seven House Media. So let's just kind of talk about and I know we'll probably touch on this further down the interview as well, but let's talk about like some of the services you offer with that and how you got into the whole publishing part.
So when it comes to my mentoring, the most dominant thing I mentor on right now is publishing, and even I just taught this whole course on how people can come out with their own co-author. But as a result, just being a mentor and having so much experience in all these books I've read, I've always offered mentorship for some of my authors. If they reach out to me for certain personal things. So I know that in the future I'll be doing that a lot more. I realize that although I make myself available to people and not just outside of my authors, I know that sometimes you have to position yourself in a way where you offer it as a service. So I'm not very specific as a service, but if someone want guidance on anything, and I feel like I'm that, I can actually help you. That's what I do. I've done that. I started off that way, and it morphed into publishing, but I've always morphed right back into what is important is just helping people through their life journey. So I think it's really important.
For that, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And let's talk a bit about. Okay, so I know you mentioned that you wanted to put out you were a writer, obviously, and you were talking about how the publishing industry is a little bit different than what a lot of people would anticipate. Now that you are putting out projects, though, like what have you learned? I guess what I'm asking is, what are like maybe one or two key things that you've learned that you didn't know before, like as a writer, because you have the writing but now you're actually a publisher. So
publishing had to come. It seemed as if at first publishing wasn't the goal, writing was the goal. And you're going to hear people, and I'm sure you've heard it yourself, that you can't really make money writing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I hate to say that way, because my original dream was just to be like the next Maya Angelou. But so, I wouldn't say my dream was crushed, but when I learned some things, a lot of things, I knew that I'm going to have a different skill if I wanted to still do both. So while I still had the platform to do more writing, which was like the Huffington Post, even now, like after I've done some writing, when I feel very moved to, because I don't want to ever discourage anybody and tell somebody that they can't make it in writing. Definitely, and especially in this day and age, and you can get paid. Clearly, there's bloggers, lifestyle bloggers. You find your niche, great. I know for me, as things started to change and I started to learn some things, it no longer became a desire for me to be just a writer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt compelled to really write this story about this experience with my sister, and I submitted to Positively Positive, right? So those options are just so out there. There's so many opportunities. So many of these great blogs are really looking for freelance bloggers. So there's no excuse for anything or anybody, including myself. But publishing just became more of a, I don't know, I want to be the next Louise Hay. You know, I don't know if you know who she is. She just passed away about. Yeah, so she just passed away, but her story and what she's been through is kind of similar, where she's combined all these things, what she's been through, how it healed her, then she started to help people, then she started to help people that help people, you know.
Yeah.
And then she has this, publishing company, and she has both traditional and self-publishing. So I just finally found what it is that fits for me, and maybe this is what the journey takes me, because the journey can take you anywhere, right? So just if you enjoy it. And I enjoy what I do. So I think that would be the most important part. I enjoy this portion of my journey.
Exactly. Yeah, no, and that's definitely something that I think we could all appreciate, because a lot of us are on a journey, but it's not a journey that we enjoy. So,
right.
Yeah, just trying to get to that point.
They get deterred real quick, and now they're no longer doing any of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I got a little deterred, and I was like, how do I combine everything? And finally, I have been able to do it, and I love it.
Yeah, that's true. That is definitely true. And it is, I guess it can be challenging, but like you said, you have to, there's no excuse. You definitely have to put forth the effort.
Yes, there's too many opportunities.
Yes, indeed. So let's talk about the new volume. You have 20 Beautiful Women. How many series do you currently have in that particular volume of books?
Yeah, for 20 Beautiful Women, there is 5 volumes and an Africa edition, and then of course you know about the men. So I guess 7 altogether, but yeah, so about 6 with the women, and then I'm working on actually the actual volume 6 coming up. But yeah, so yeah.
The 6. Okay. And so this will be just, I'm assuming, just a different set of women and telling their stories. You know what? I never did. I'm going to throw this in here. I know I didn't mention it before, and just answer it for me the best way you can. As far as the stories, give us a little insight on the content or the actual themes behind each of these stories. When you talk about 20 Beautiful Women, what's the theme?
So of course, the subtitles gives a little bit more of it. So your soul ignite your passion, inspire your divine purpose. The content is people that took their pain and pretty much made it their purpose. So they went through maybe, for instance, from volume 1, there's a particular show I always will remember, and still connected to this woman after 3 years, and we're greatest friends. But she was hurting. She was a foster child, right? Yeah. And she was raped. She was molested by her own father. Her own mother shot her father, and the story just, it just gets more and worse, because when she got into the foster care system, she was also mistreated, deeply mistreated. And then now, though she's healed from it, she's forgiven everybody. She's still connected to her mother, but she's also now a foster parent, right? So she makes sure she takes care of, and she's adopted children. So it's like, instead of a lot of us, we go through a tremendous amount of things, and it's not for anyone to tell you what you should do with it. But I've learned our pain has made it our purpose, because she can relate to those children, and what her purpose or her intent is a lot more than someone who just wants to adopt, right? Yeah. So her taking her pain is what she's done is what I believe is beautiful. So we can react to life, we can hate and hurt everybody, and we can make every reason why. And that, I'm not here to tell you that's invalid, but then we can also take that and just try to apply it and see that there's other children just like ourselves, and especially in her story, that just needs someone to show up in their lives the way that it wasn't it for her. So yeah, so that's just one story, and in particular, I can give you more, but I don't think we have much time.
Yeah, no, and that's perfect. And I just wanted the audience to get an understanding of what they can expect in your book series. And I know, like, a lot of the main themes that when I was kind of reading like the different synopses and the overviews, you have several titles, and the theme that kind of keeps reoccurring to me is the inspiration and the purpose. And what I want to know, like, I know obviously they're important to you, because you definitely have a level of passion to continue to do this. But what drives your work? What drives you to continue this?
As things started to unravel, and I started doing like events, or even working on docuseries, or even getting forwards from some pretty great people, I feel compelled to, when I see how this just has benefited people, especially my authors, how people ask me to do certain things, like how this year I was thinking maybe this might be the last year for the event, but someone's like, I was just telling my mentor, I hope that this is happening next year. So I always take note from what I get from my authors. I take note from what I feel if this is adding really value into people's lives. So those are the things that truly inspire me and make all the work that goes behind most of it. Not all of it's hard because I love it. Just makes it just more worth just keep moving forward. And as like continues to show up and allow so many great things happen, it's like how do you stop a good thing? And that's pretty much it. So I just kind of fill it out, and as it continues, just feel really good using my intuition. I just keep pouring right back into it, and so far it just keeps getting better. I don't see a 20 Beautiful Women Volume 101. I don't know, but
exactly. You never know.
But you never know. You know, I definitely can see a spin-off of like 20 Beautiful Miracles, and I definitely thought about that because again, it's personal in my life. I've seen miracles happen in my life, and I think there's a lot of miracles out here stories that can help really uplift other people. So whatever I need and I really need or needed to hear, stories that really affect me, I just turn around and just try to give that back to the world. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know you mentioned, I think it was Lisa Nichols earlier, and a couple of other people that do a great job of highlighting and really, showcasing others. So when I was looking at, I was like, okay, volume 1, volume 2, all of the different books that you have on the site. I'm like, okay, so now where's the TV series? Where's the show on O? Where's the show on OWN? And just kind of, because the thing is, like with a positive message, I think obviously there's a lot of the social media, of course, and then the content that we see on TV. But when you have messages like this, I think that, those are much needed platforms, and it just kind of helps to let people know that they're not alone in their journey. So when I was going through all of your content, I was like, all right, where's her announcement for the upcoming pilot series of 20 Beautiful Women on OWN or a similar network? But yeah, I'm going to be looking for that. I certainly see big things in your future, especially with something like this. And I know that it has evolved from one book to a series of books. I know you had like the Huffington Post where you got like over 1 million responses with the online community, and then the events, and then the 20 Beautiful Men. So, I mean, at this point, it's kind of, I don't want to ask, but I'm going to ask anyway. Any current plans to expand the brand further? Like, I know you got a lot on your plate, but what other plans do you have?
Of course. So real quickly, so with the million, with the part of the Huffington Post for the million, okay, so we've had a blog. First of all, I had a personal blog, and then I was able to get a blog for 20 Beautiful Women, and I was able to get a blog for 20 Beautiful Men. But as far as the million portion of it, so when the volume 1 came out, I don't know, this was the weirdest thing. The 20 Beautiful Women Challenge just came out of nowhere, right?
Oh, wow.
And over 1 million people ended up participating. That's the portion of that I just wanted to correct. But what was strange is that I didn't do anything. It was like one day I was always checking the hashtag because, I put it in the back of the book, and I was looking for things, seeing if people said anything. And then one day I seen all these photos, and I didn't understand it. And then someone from H&L, the Daily Share, CNN, has a division, and it's called AHNL, and then they have a show and all that, but they also have a blog, and someone had reached out to me and was like, are you seeing what's happening? And I'm like, oh, that's why.
Oh, wow.
And she recognized I was basically the first person using it, or we were, and then I guess it just happened organically. So I wanted to clear that part. But as far as I'm always working with and allowing myself to be guided on what the next thing is. And the docuseries sounds like it's the next step that can open those doors that you're talking about. And I would love to see more in every aspect. I don't feel like that challenge was it didn't get the same media attention. A lot of colleges did a lot of blogs about it. I think it was maybe the challenge really spoke to college students. I'm not sure, but like a lot of challenges that are happening, there's always a lot more coverage, and I feel like this one was a little bit overshadowed given how positive it was. But who knows, as things start to continue and as I continue to want to work and reach out with other people, I mean, definitely, I would love to see more happening for everyone. I love my authors. I love what we've done. This weekend was amazing, and it had such great momentum that I want to continue this momentum.
Well, I tell you what, yeah, we definitely want you to continue, and thanks for clarifying that story. In any case, just to have 1 million people participating in anything, especially with the attention span these days, I mean, that's still an incredible story, in its own right. So we appreciate that. And I wanted to ask, what do you enjoy most about writing? Like, I know you've given us a background and you really were interested in Maya Angelou, but like, what do you enjoy most about it?
Writing is, I don't know, it's the most beautiful thing if you can ever convey exactly what's on your mind, because I know people think that they're submitting to me masterpieces.
Oh my goodness.
In their head, and I'm saying they're great. I'm just saying masterpieces, little far-fetched when some of the stuff is like there's a disconnect, and I know that disconnect because I've been there. I'll write something, and a week later, fresh eyes be like, what was it? I thought this was everything. So writing, I mean, if you can really convey, and especially, it's almost poetic without it having to be poetry, If you can really convey your emotions and with such clarity, and then really like allow it to ripple, and allow a story to unravel, and then you can bring it on home, and you can do it in a way that it takes people on your journey, and you feel like you've hit every corner of what your life experiences have felt like to you. I mean, I can't even put to words what that is really like. Yeah. And it doesn't happen all the way, but when it does, it's magic. So that's what writing means to me. I mean, it's magic, it's beautiful, it's the most releasing and the most healing thing that you could ever do with it without wanting to publish it, with or without it having to be a blog. Just writing out how you feel is powerful. If it's enough for you feel compelled to share, it's even more powerful. People heal twofold, or in areas they didn't think they already thought they were healed in. So I know that process myself. So I knew that this experience was great for these authors because I know they're going to get extra amount of healing. I know that as they do it with the intent of healing someone else, they're going to get more healing. And then when that person reads that, it's like they get some healing, and you get all that energy back, right? Yeah. So that's the process. It's wonderful.
Exactly. No, and I love that. And you mentioned the word magic, and I guess anything that's magic is kind of hard to describe. So that is definitely that's good stuff right there. And I wanted to know, like, what advice do you have for aspiring writers?
For aspiring writers, take out in your mind this ideal of it has to be hard writing, and like artists in general. It's almost like it's a synopsis of being poor and struggling. And Alex Haley had a quote, and it was in the shadow land of dreams. If someone pulled out that whole page of what he was talking about writing, and it was like the most moving thing. If you pull that out, that would be very inspiring for anybody who's given the result of his work, his legacy, right? Yeah. So if they pull that out, that'd be helpful for them, but they have to understand that they have to remove all that. And if their intent is, they're very clear, very niche specific, and very clear on what it is that they're trying to do. I'm trying to avoid using the word God this whole conversation, but God will move everything for you. Yeah, everything. If you get clear, and you connect, and you have and it's, when I use the word intent, I'm not just talking about having the best or good intentions. It's just what your intentions meaning. What is it that you want as a result of? You get very clear on that. There's nothing that can get in your way. If you're willing to just love what you do throughout the process and take away and use the right personal development, what you do every day is very important. How you get up in the morning before you go to bed. Yeah. So there's nothing that can escape that from your level of success if that's what you want. But if you feel successful just putting out content, then you are a success, and that's okay. You don't need the money. You don't need the 100 people reading it, thousands of people reading it. If you make it your focus that you just want to put out great work, as a result of magic will definitely happen. Or still can just consider yourself successful, because what it's all about is what you think of what you do, not what anybody else thinks.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, no, and I agree with you. And yeah, I mean, you can certainly mention the word God as much as you want, because I agree with you 100%. That's definitely one of the first things that we need to do is kind of turn to him for direction and guidance.
Everything.
Yes, ma'am. And before we wrap up, I had a couple of additional questions. So you told us the writing, what it means to you, what it is to you, kind of just serve it as an outlet. But do you have a specific process? Like when you're working on a new title, maybe you have a different book series or a concept that you want to come up with. Do you have like a specific process that you go through when you're trying to come up with a storyline? Do you sit down and plot stuff, or do you just start writing?
So because I'm not much of a writer as I am a publisher, when it comes to creating maybe books, every process is kind of similar, meaning I just feel compelled to share, I feel compelled to share a certain message that I feel that connects with me really deeply, right? I check in with my soul, and then I allow it to come together, because I think we live in a society that looks for instant gratification, right? So we're just like, I gotta have this idea that's gonna run, I'm about to be millionaire. So,
yeah, right, there you go.
Right, pump your brakes, let's just let these ideals come to us. Let's not get so scared about sharing it. We think everybody wants to take our ideals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
Just understand what's for you is for you, and if you have an ideal, you still gotta dot your I's and cross your T's. But run it by a few mentors, people that you trust, and let this develop. Yeah. I don't believe believe there's nothing that isn't already done. You know?
Yeah.
So if that ideal comes to you, it's already done, and you're still just pulling out of, you're just like downloading something,
Yeah.
you know? So allow it to keep downloading. So there's some ideals where it just sits with me for a while. I'm just not in a rush, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, okay, I see that, unless it's a particular project I'm working with, and I'm already working with someone, then I move a little bit faster. But if it's for me and I feel like I have time, then I will take my time and I will sit with it. And I will sit with it because it's important to let some things marinate and for more things to come, because it can switch. So, like, I would always suggest for anybody, like, you start with a blank page, you're already unconsciously putting out an intent that I intend to write something, you know, whatever, or create something. So it's like this blank page, I don't care if it's a piece of paper or you take out a Word doc, that's the first step for anything. I don't care if you title it. People get so afraid of what they put first. Like, this has to be the end all be all. Like, you'll never change anything again. Like, no, like, just whatever it is, you can also still take and run, because I do both. Sometimes this needs to just get out here. I don't care what it looks like at this point, because I need to get some feedback. I'm not, because I don't believe in perfection, right? So it's twofold. You got to know when you're getting in your way of perfection and when you need to still put something out there. So I'll put how I started 20 Beautiful Women real quickly, because I don't know how much time we have, is that I just started with a cover. I didn't have nothing else. I barely knew how to publish a book. I mean, barely. I knew the bare minimum. I knew how to make a book a bestseller. I know how to get an ebook up. I didn't know nothing about the print portion, but I knew enough, and I knew I wasn't going to allow myself to allow anything to get in my way, because what Brown says, jump, entrepreneurs jump. Because this is, 20 Beautiful Women isn't a free opportunity. It started off free, but at that time I knew what I was building. So Les Brown said, entrepreneurs jump and grow wings on the way down.
Yeah.
So I was done holding on to everything and holding on to any ideal of what, and I just started putting stuff out there. So you just have to feel out once you've got enough. Enough is just, doesn't have to be much, just enough that you're willing to bet on you. Yeah. Not a lot of people willing to bet on themselves, right? So you got to bet on you, and if you're willing to bet on yourself, then start to put out some stuff out there, start to getting some feedback, just start working on putting out stuff, because there's nothing like putting out something and not completing it, right? So you'll feel a little edge of, okay, this response is positive, so therefore there is something here, and let me continue to go on. So that's what I would just suggest. Just fill out which both is.
Exactly.
Time to start to put the rubber to the road, or is it time to kind of slow down and allow yourself to really see where this is going?
To see where this is going. Yeah, no, that is excellent. All right. And we have the last question here, and then we're going to let you leave your social media handles and all that other good stuff so that the audience can reach out to you and connect with you. What motivates you? How do you stay motivated?
That word is not my favorite word. I'm not a motivating person. I'm an inspired person. I'm a free spirit at heart. So
there we go.
What motivates me is inspiration. Maybe that'd be a better way.
There we go. Okay.
Yes, when I feel compelled to, where I don't feel forced to. I have self-proclaimed ADHD. I don't have that attention span for anything. But if I love it, I can definitely sit still and, I can do the work and I can stay committed. So, and it's usually because of inspiration. So yes, what inspires me is that, and what people inspire me. When I see people who are hurting, and it doesn't inspire me to help them. It inspires me to feel that there's a need for what I do. If you really feel like, and this is general though, if you really feel like at the end of whatever it is that you're trying to do, that you can imagine somebody that needs it and is happy because you did it, you in particular, because there's nobody else in this world. There's no other you. There's just you, and that's it. God created just that one of you, and they're going to be happy if that person is happy with what you did. Don't you think you would want to, wouldn't that inspire you to help them in any way that you can, in the way that feels right for you? Because you can't do everything for everybody.
Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true. And we definitely appreciate you being here. And so we're going to say, I'm going to just ask you, if you have any last thoughts or words of encouragement, feel free to leave those. And also tell us where we can find you online, any upcoming events, releases, workshops, and also where we can find more information about the 20 Beautiful Women book series as well.
Yeah, so I'll just leave with this quote: no one is you, and that is your power. Because I can definitely add to what I just said. And that, get on my email list. If you don't want to be in 20 Beautiful Women, that's fine. You don't have to be. If you want to support the movement, get on the email list. You want to be invited for events in the future, get on the email list. You want to know about whenever we're doing free book offers. Every release, I definitely do a free book offer. You be aware of it. And actually, 20 Beautiful Women Volume 1 is actually for free right now on Amazon, and has been for a while.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
definitely download that book, but still get on the email list just to be in the loop, because there will be opportunities in the future, whether you're not book or not, like the docuseries. Like, I would love to interview you for the docuseries. Once we get the logistics together, it may be a process. But yeah, so yeah, get on the email list, 20beautifulwomen.com, and that's it.
Oh, absolutely perfect. Yes, I am signed on and ready to go for the docuseries. And also for the listeners, you guys, you heard it right. The 20 Beautiful Women, the first series is actually available for free. So you don't have to do anything but go in and download it on Amazon. And we will also have that information on the show notes once the interview is published. And again, I want to say thank you. Why am I starting with your last name? You know, I'm so crazy. Anyway, Saba, Tekle. How did you know I was trying to? You failed it. You like, let me help her because she's gonna slaughter it. I feel her about to take me to the slaughterhouse on the last name. I appreciate it, Saba. Thanks so much for joining, and we look forward to having you back on again soon with the next project. So we appreciate it, and thanks so much. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thanks for hanging out with us here on SOB. We hope this episode has been resourceful. If you'd like to check out the latest articles or follow Keetria's website updates, just log on to Keetria.com or follow her on Twitter at KEETRIA.